Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and felt like someone was in your room? For thousands of people around the world, that feeling isn't just a feeling. It's a specific terrifying image. A tall, black, featureless figure, standing perfectly still, and it's always wearing a hat. Some describe a fedora, others a wide-brimmed hat. Sometimes it's wearing a trench coat, sometimes its eyes glow red. But here's the part that separates this story from almost every other paranormal legend. People describe the exact same figure without ever hearing the story before. There's no book, no movie, no single source they all saw. Just the same dark silhouette appearing at the edge of the bed, in the corner of the room, or standing in the doorway. This figure has a name, the Hat Man, and the more you learn about him, the more unsettling the story becomes. Reports of the Hat Man are not confined to one country, one culture, or even one time period. You'll find them everywhere. They pop up in Reddit threads about sleep paralysis, in hushed confession videos on TikTok, and even in formal medical case reports documenting strange patient experiences. They appear in online threads where people share bizarre childhood memories and in anonymous surveys asking about unexplained phenomena. What makes these reports so chilling is that many people say their experience happened long before they had internet access, before they even knew the Hat Man was a thing. This is what makes it so different. Folklore usually spreads after stories are shared, but this one seems to spread before. It's a story people experience first and hear about later. It's as if the phenomenon itself is the source, not the stories about it. So what's the official explanation? Most medical professionals and sleep scientists classify Hat Man encounters as a type of hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucination, which often happens during sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is that terrifying state where your brain wakes up, but your body remains temporarily frozen, unable to move. During these episodes, dream imagery can bleed into your waking reality. According to sleep research published in journals like Sleep Medicine Reviews, seeing shadow figures is one of the most common types of hallucinations people experience during sleep paralysis. When we're afraid and vulnerable, our brain does something very specific. It creates a watcher. It generates the intense feeling of a presence, someone standing near you, observing you. This is a primal fear response hardwired into our brains. The shadow in the corner is your brain's way of personifying that fear. But this is where the neat scientific explanation starts to get a little shaky. Doctors can explain why people might sense a presence or see a vague shadow. They struggle to explain why so many people see the exact same details. Why a hat? Why a featureless silhouette? Why the same posture, just standing still, watching? Some neurologists have suggested that our brains might be reaching for universal archetypes, simple human shapes that signal authority or power. A hat, throughout history, has been a symbol of status, of control, of being someone important. It's a simple visual cue that your brain could easily generate to represent a powerful, observing presence. But that theory doesn't fully explain why young children who haven't been exposed to these cultural symbols report seeing the same figure. And more importantly, it doesn't explain the thousands of people who claim to have seen it while they were wide awake. And this is where the story takes a sharp turn away from sleep science. Thousands of reports describe something completely different. They say they were fully awake, the lights were on, and they were not paralyzed at all. They were walking down the hall, sitting on the couch, or glancing out a window, and there he was. The Hat Man, standing in a doorway at the end of a long hallway, or just outside the window, looking in. In these accounts, some say the figure vanished instantly, like a light switching off. Others say it faded away slowly, like smoke dissipating into the air. But almost all of these witnesses report the exact same feeling. It felt intelligent. This wasn't a random dreamlike image. It felt like it was aware. It was watching them. This consistency in the described behavior is what makes the waking state sightings so difficult to dismiss as mere imagination. Now here's where the internet comment sections really explode with theories. When you start looking back through history and folklore, you find figures that bear a striking resemblance to the Hat Man. Different names, but a similar chilling outline. There's the Sandman of European folklore, who wasn't always a friendly character bringing sweet dreams. Early depictions of the Grim Reaper sometimes included a hat. The Shadow People, a phenomenon documented in stories from medieval Europe, often describe tall, dark, human-shaped figures. And then there's the Watcher archetype in Jungian psychology. universal symbol representing observation and judgment that resides in our collective unconscious. But the story gets even stranger in the modern era. In recent years, a bizarre and dangerous trend on TikTok brought the Hat Man back into the spotlight. Users began reporting terrifyingly vivid sightings of the Hat Man after taking high doses of diphenhydramine, the active ingredient in the allergy medicine Benadryl. At these high doses, the drug is a powerful deliriant known to cause extreme hallucinations, including seeing shadow figures, spiders, and having full-blown conversations with people who aren't there. And what is the most commonly reported hallucinated entity from this misuse? A tall shadow man, often wearing a hat. This strange connection revived the legend for a whole new generation, adding a bizarre pharmacological layer to the mystery. This is where people's beliefs really split into two camps. On one side, you have the skeptics who argue that all of this, the sleep paralysis, the waking visions, the drug-induced sightings points to a shared quirk of human brain chemistry. The Hat Man, they say, is just a pattern our brains generate under stress, fear, or chemical influence. But on the other side, believers argue that the evidence points to something more. They point out that the Hat Man behaves with remarkable consistency across cultures and time periods. It almost always appears to just observe, not attack. It shows up in waking states as often as it does during sleep. They suggest it could be a shared psychological construct, a Jungian archetype bubbling up from our collective subconscious. Or they venture perhaps it's something external to our consciousness altogether. Some go even further, proposing theories about interdimensional entities, predators that feed on fear in our sleep states, or other consciousness-based phenomena we don't yet understand. None of these ideas are provable, of course. But given the sheer volume of testimony, they're not easily dismissible either. Most paranormal stories have a shelf life. They flare up, become popular, and then they fade away. But the Hat Man is different. The Hat Man doesn't fade. Because people don't just hear about it, they remember it. So many people only learn the name Hat Man years after their own terrifying experience. They finally work up the courage to tell someone what they saw as a child or during a sleepless night. And they're met with a chilling response, "Wait, I saw that too." That moment of recognition, of shared experience without any prior suggestion, is the real reason this story survives and continues to haunt us. Psychologists have noted something incredibly important about the human brain. We are extremely sensitive to being watched. It's an evolutionary survival instinct. In the wild, being observed by an unseen predator meant you were in immediate danger. The Hat Man taps directly into this primal fear. He never rushes you, he never speaks, he rarely attacks, he just watches. And that silent, patient observation triggers a deeper, more profound fear than any sudden act of violence ever could. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of being powerless under an intelligent gaze. Every time this story goes viral online, it follows the exact same pattern. Someone bravely shares their personal experience. The comments section floods with thousands of people saying, "Me too." Skeptics arrive, pushing back with explanations of sleep paralysis and brain chemistry. The believers double down, sharing more details and defending the reality of their experience. The debate never reaches a resolution. There's no single explanation that satisfies both sides of the argument. And that constant, unresolved tension is exactly what social media algorithms are designed to reward. The mystery itself is what keeps it alive. So we're left with these questions that you just can't shake. If the Hat Man is just a trick of the mind during sleep paralysis, why do so many people describe the exact same figure down to the hat? If it's just our imagination, why does it so often appear without any prior knowledge or expectation? And if it's something else entirely, something real and external, why does it only seem to appear when we are at our most vulnerable? The Hat Man doesn't chase. He doesn't speak. He doesn't leave any messages behind. He just stands there and watches. And in the end, that might be the most disturbing part of all. Thanks for watching. If you've had an experience like this, you're not alone. Please consider sharing your story in the comments below. And don't forget to follow for more explorations into the unexplained.